Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Wednesday the 17th of April and we'll start with ASML today. Netherlands based, Amsterdam. After earnings, it dropped 5-6% at the opening to the support at 858, but has bounced quite significantly since. And if it can close back above here around 900, well then I wouldn't say uptrend exact, because we are more or less in a sideways trade here between 858 and up to around 923 is, and we have this top and reversal candle over here still intact, but this all just signifies the importance of 858 support level. Moving on to US markets, and let's see what was going on last night. A little bit lower. We actually closed below 5,557. We are in a downtrend. We do have negative sentiment. There is potential down to around 4,950, around that level where we have a little bit of a support. So next few days and weeks could be quite interesting. And Nasdaq 100 also lower a little bit. 17,478 is the key support next that could come into play, and also we have the 100 moving average coming up, and the cloud area that should still hold if we should have any chance to bounce back strongly. EUROSTOXX 50. 4,888 key support here, short term, and the 55 moving average giving some support. Look out for that level in the coming days. DAX also, that closed below 7,900 support yesterday, below the lower rising trend line, 17,620. If that is broken, well, then we are talking about the gap area down here between 17,326 and 17,118. That would be key, but let's talk about that when we cross that bridge. Amsterdam index is of course affected by ASML. It's a heavy component. It actually opens in the gap, but currently we are back above the upper boundary of the gap here at 872. If we do close above, well then we are still holding on to this uptrend picture, but quite stretched, as we can also see here with the divergence on the RSI. We can see the RSI values that have been declining when the market has been trending higher. So it is a little bit fragile, but it's still holding on by its claws. The CAC index that bounced a little bit yesterday, just above the 38.2 retracement and support at 78.75, bouncing a little bit today, could possibly test the 8,010 and then close that little gap here, but I'm not quite sure we can actually do that. We do have a negative sentiment on the RSI, so we are in a correction phase, or in a downtrend negative correction phase here, and this gap area could very well come under pressure in coming days and weeks. The Swiss market closed below the 786 retracement and seems destined to move down to around 11,100, 11,050, 57 level, where we have some strong support. Your dollar seems to be bouncing a little bit from around 106 level here, and I think we could see a further bounce in the coming days up to 106.60 if we can get about. If your dollar can get back above that, well, then there's actually potential up to around 107, 107.10, which is the 38.2 retracement of the downtrend here. But we are in a downtrend. There's no divergence. We could drop lower in coming weeks, and if we're looking at the weekly chart, which we have done many times, you can also see here it actually broke the triangle pattern here, just holding on by the 100 moving average, the weekly moving average, and there we are in a downtrend confirmed. So interesting times for euro dollar. On cable, we are already bouncing quite a bit of 110 or 120.10 level. little bit of support and bouncing up to around the 125 and a quarter could be seen here in the coming days, and then I think the downtrend will resume. We have all moving average declining, really steady declining, all of them, and we are very close to having 21 breaking above the below the 200 moving, as they're both declining. I would say in a couple of days then we're there, and then we have a death cross, and that really is not good for upside momentum, to say the least. Dollar yen pushing higher and getting closer to 100% of this correction phase here. 155.30 could be reached within a day or so. RSI a little bit stretched, indicating a little bit stretched, but we are still in our trend. There's still positive sentiment, and there's no divergence indicating we are likely to move higher in dollar yen. We could see some corrections, however. If we take out the peak yesterday at 164.70 in euro yen, well, I think then we will have a push to test these peaks here around 165.20, 165.35, and then a likely push higher towards 166 and a quarter. Aussie yen can't really get its mojo back together after testing the 98.74 support here. That's the 786 retracement of this uptrend here, and it really needs to push back above its 61.8 retracement at 100 and a change. If it does take out that, then I think we'll see a move towards 180 level. It seems like we're trading in this rising channel, possibly a rising wedge-like pattern, but we are not even close to be ready to break out. But if it does, if it takes out the this level here and with a close lower, then 98.17 is being tested, possibly also the lower rising trend line right down there. Sterling yen pushing higher, and I think it will break higher today towards the 193.5, potential up to 195 if it can get back above this level here around 193.50. There is a little bit of divergence on the RSI, but RSI moving back above 60. If it closes back above 60, well, then it will confirm we are likely to push higher on sterling yen. Aussie dollar finding support here at 64, as we talked about yesterday. It was likely to do so. We could see a little bit of bounce, and what I will do, I'll just remove that one, and then we can add a new one. Say, okay, can we get a little bit of the support and bounce up to the 64.85, which is also the 38.2 retracement. That is not unlikely, given also the volatility we often see in Aussie dollar. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, expect a further selling down to around 63 area. Dollar Canada pushing higher and could very well reach the 139 level. Do expect a little bit of correction to around 137.50 before next leg up. That could be seen, should at least not be ruled out. If we're moving on to dollar Swiss, not really much going on, just trading sideways here around the 91 and a bit. We are in a bullish trend, but it is struggling a little bit, and we do have some divergence. You can see here the RSI strength indicator is declining, whereas the market has moved higher. So also a bit of correction could be kick in there. Euro Swiss in a corrective phase could drop further down to around 96.5, 96 and a quarter, 96.60, dipping down possibly. But then we have the 55 moving average coming up here, giving some support, and then I think that correction would be over. Finally, on the dollar index, trading above the minor resistance at 105.96. I do think we will see a bit of correction down. We can guesstimate it by adding the Fibonacci retracement levels here. Let's see what we can see. We could possibly see a correction down to 105.30, but we are in a very strong uptrend. There's no divergence on the RSI, so it is indicating that we could see a push up to around 107 level. Moving on to gold. Still holding up above this 23.19 minor support level and the 38.2 retracement, just a few cents above. Still holding on, still finding bids That is the key to look out for. 23.19. If it does break below that, well, then we're looking at around 22.55, 22.60, around that level where we have some support, and then I think we will see a market moving higher. But we are still there's still bids coming in, so still fairly strong uptrend in gold, but it is indicating it is weakening a little bit. There is some divergence, meaning we are in a positive move, so be careful. It is wide trading range at the moment, and certainly something can spook it, and then we are in a different situation. More or less the same picture on silver. 27.53. Keep an eye on that level. If it does break below, and then we could see a sell-off down to around the 61.8 retracement at 26.40. We could be ripe for a correction, but it is still holding on nicely there. But keep an eye on those levels. Platinum, that actually was tagging along or being dragged higher with the two other precious metals, is facing a correction phase that could take it down to the 61.8 retracement at 935. But as you can see, there's we're still in a positive sentiment and not much divergence, so we could see bids coming in a little bit later, but I think we will see a correction down to around that level right there. Moving on to the oil market. Sliding a little bit lower, but I mean, we're still in an uptrend. There's no divergence, but we had this top and reversal like pattern here that could give it a little bit of a corrective phase. But I think as long as we stay above the 82.5, we are still in a fairly nicely uptrend. Same picture really here. Couldn't really get up to the 93.79 resistance level. But it could come later, of course. But there's not much interest at the moment. 87.35, it could slide back to test that. Finally, on the Dutch gas, pushing above the resistance here at 31.22 the other day, and there's now room up to around 35.86 is the resistance. Let's have a quick look at cocoa. Massive sell-off yesterday, massive bearish engulfing, taking out the 4 days previous trading. It seems like we are forming a top and it's a top and reversal pattern that could push cocoa lower. If it takes out 9,150, well, then there could be further selling in cocoa. Finally, on the US Treasury yields, very close to 470, could push up, spike up to the 475, which is the 786 retracement, and then I think we will see a correction before we move higher. I feel fairly confident that we could, I mean, there's no certainties, but fairly confident we will push higher. There's no divergence on the RSI, so we should push higher in coming weeks. That's all for today. Have a nice day and happy trading.